All right. Yeah, I haven't been recording much, but we got the motor in. The trans is in as well, and we're working on wiring up the Holly Terminator. We ran it through factory location. Some of the wires have to be extended. Um, it's just tedious little things. This is Matt's flex fuel alternator combo sensor. That's gonna work nice. That goes to the flex fuel sensor, and then the other wire here goes to the this wire on the inputs and output plug right here. So the flex fuel and the fan. I wanted to show you underneath the car. Ran into some issues. It's just stuff that we didn't think of at the time. It's obvious. It's just shit that you forget. There's a new bell housing, and my old bell housing used an adapter plate. It was a small block Chevy bell housing, and then with an adapter plate to mount the transmission there. But the thickness of that adapter plate was like 3/8 or ½ inch, and now that that's gone, the drive shaft is too short. So I ordered a new drive shaft. Should be here next week. It's a total mess under here. It's like oil. I don't know if you can see that. That's the speedometer adapter. That's a new one. The old one I had, it was leaking all over the place. It made a mess underneath the car, and so I gotta like pressure wash it under here or do something to clean this shit up. Get a bunch of rags and some brake cleaner or something. But I got the coils mounted. Here's where we had to cut the bell housing. Because the exhaust goes through there, so we had to cut that because it's 4-inch pipe, which doesn't fit. What else? Yeah, this trans is a motherfucker. Fights it to get in. It's a pain in the dick to get that trans in. And the other thing we didn't think about is the shifter location. Now that the trans is forward another ½ inch, now the shifter's not going to be in the right spot. There's a little adapter that we made because the shifter location isn't perfect, so it's kind of like a little kickback bracket right here. This is normally you would just bolt the shifter right to there, but we had to kick it back a little bit to get it in the hole with this. Excuse me. And now we'll have to kick it back another ½ inch or so. We'll have to make a new bracket, whatever, to get the shifter in the hole in the right spot. And yeah, that's it with that. Still got a lot of junk back here. It's just Manny's bracket that we made to help support the turbo. This is going to bolt on this bolt here, and just to help support the turbo. He made that way back in the day, and I ran it for a while, and then the turbo I got, it didn't fit any longer. It didn't have the mounting hole, so it was okay, but it's just a lot of weight on the exhaust holding up. That turbo weighs like 42 pounds, so it's just some added, to get some weight off of the hot side. The other thing too is here's where the turbo hits the radiator, right here. You can see that, and that's a leak waiting to happen. So I don't know what we're gonna do about that. The radiator there's no room to move it unless we take the radiator out and start bashing it in or something to give. Because really all you need is like a 1/4 inch more, and you'll be okay. But right now it's up against, and then the fan's sandwiched in between. It's tight. We might have to move the intercooler forward, which there's not much room there either. See that? There's not much room. And yeah, I thought about maybe doing like a solid engine mount, but then you get all kinds of vibration from that. Or maybe some kind of like travel limiter. Because what happens is when you're on it, when you floor it, the engine moves, and it moves forward because you're propelling the car forward, and they're polyurethane mounts, so they're stiff, but they do move, and it moves enough that the turbo hits the radiator. So yeah, I don't know I still don't know what we're going to do about that. Manny usually has good ideas. Maybe he'll figure something else out. Another thing I did, I ordered a new idler arm. That's probably the original one. It's got a bunch of play in it, so that'll help the feel of the steering. This is the hose to bleed the slave cylinder, the hydraulic throw-up bearing. Did that. I got the remote bleeder. There's a reservoir there. And trying to think what else, man. It's coming together. Waiting on the drive shaft. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe next weekend we'll get it started. The other thing I was thinking about doing too is running an oil accumulator. If you don't know what those are, you can Google them, but I can give you a rough idea what it is. Basically, it's a tank. I think it's the 3-quart one is 16 inches long, and I think it's 4-inch diameter. And so it's a cylinder, and you plumb it into your oil feed, like this galley right here would have oil pressure. There's an oil pressure galley right there. And so engine oil goes inside that cylinder. There's like a piston inside that slides back and forth inside. So when you have oil pressure, it fills up roughly like halfway. Because on the other back side, then there's air pressure, like 5 or 10 pounds you can vary. So what that thing does is it'll have oil in there. It'll be pressurized from the oiling system. And then if there's ever a lapse in oil pressure or oil volume to the engine, that's going to push oil into your engine. So if your pressure ever drops, it's going to essentially save your engine. And the other benefit is you're adding capacity to it. It's 3-quart, but it only fills up like halfway. So you're adding another 1.5 quarts of oil to your engine oil capacity. So that's a good thing too. And they even sell like the fancy kit. If you want, you can pre-oil the engine before you start it. It has like a electronic valve that you hook up to key power on, and it'll shoot your engine with oil before you start it. So I mean, that's kind of fancy and neat. I don't think I really need that, but it's kind of cool to have too if you wanted to do that. But yeah, we're trying to figure out maybe where we'd mount the thing. That I don't know. I don't know where we're gonna fit a accumulator anywhere. Maybe underneath the car somewhere. I don't know. But still gotta figure out this radiator shit. I don't know. Maybe we'll just bash it in. What do you think, Manny? What? Bash the radiator support and move the radiator up 1/4 inch? I don't know. See what happens.
Motor's up higher now, maybe it's all right.
The motor's up higher now?
A little bit.
How's it up higher?
You gotta stop your hose in the mouth.
What's up, guys? Driving home. Got some more stuff done on the Camaro today. Got the started wiring up the Terminator. Yeah, we got the trans in. Engine's in. Drive shaft's going to be a little short. Shifter's going to have to be moved a little bit. It's just shit that you forget about, don't think, little oversights. Manny said I didn't see him do it, but I guess he messed with the engine mount holes to move the engine up a little bit. And maybe that's all it needs. I mean, the radiator's on a slight angle, kinda. I don't know. So if you pick the motor up, maybe it's moving the turbo away from the radiator. So we'll see when we bolt it up how far away it is. Hopefully it'll be all right and we don't have to do anything else there. But yeah, I ordered a drive shaft from Inland Empire. He asked me how much power I'm making, how much the car weighs, yada yada. So we decided to go with a 3.5-inch chromoly. It's good for like over 1,000 horsepower. It's big 1350 U joints and stuff. So that'll be stout. And then the weakest link there is probably going to be the rear. It's 12 bolt now. It's a strange 12 bolt 33 spline. They're pretty tough, but you know, it's probably on borrowed time and the kind of power I'm throwing at it. But so maybe I'll upgrade that down the line before it breaks. But I mean, it's been all right. It's been treating me fine. I mean, it whines a little bit when you're cruising, but other than that, it hasn't broke yet. I don't know. But yeah, I was thinking about that oil accumulator, and Moroso's got a pretty good video on it, on how they work on YouTube. Maybe I'll put the link in the description. But yeah, it's pretty neat. It's just a cylinder, you know, like a round piece of pipe with fittings on both ends. One side gets air pressure, one side is oil pressure. So you pump some air in there, like 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds of air pressure. And inside there's like a cylinder that slides back and forth. And there'll be oil on one side. And if you ever lose oil pressure, the air pressure pushes the oil into your engine, you know, potentially saving your bearings, you know, saving your motor. They've been using those for years. I think the guy who invented them came out in the 70s or something. So that's just some added insurance. Like if I ever have an oil pressure issue, that thing will save your engine. You won't even know that it did anything, but I guess that's the idea. And you know, you also get the extra oil capacity, another 1.5 quarts, 2 quarts, whatever. So that'll help. The biggest problem is where we're going to stick that thing. It's kind of big. I think the 3-quart one is 16 inches long, and I don't know if it's 3-inch diameter, 4-inch diameter, so it's kind of big. You gotta stick it somewhere. I mean, under the car maybe, or I don't know, find some room. I was thinking maybe underneath the car, like where the driver's side header would go. If I had normal headers, there's a lot of room there. If I had normal down and underneath the car, there's kind of a lot of room there because there's no header going down, it goes forward. So maybe there or something. I don't know, that's something we can do afterwards, but I'm really leaning towards that. Just some added security and the extra oil capacity. That would be good. Yeah, we got the Terminator starting to wire it up. Got it routed into the car. Some of the wires, I bought that system used, and the guy kind of hacked some stuff, but nothing major. I bought one of those flex fuel alternator harnesses from Matt at Sloppy Mechanics. That thing's gonna make it a lot easier. It's plug and play. Essentially, you just gotta splice one wire to the signal on the input on the Terminator plug. It has a plug with 4 inputs and outputs, and you just gotta wire it to that, and the rest is plug and play. But so that should work good. And I'm using Brett DeLong's tune. His is a 6.0. Matt puts most of his tunes up on the wiki, on the Sloppy Mechanics wiki page. So it's free for everybody. Just download it. And the reason why I went with his tune is you can use the startup wizard, and it's pretty easy. But like I'm using low dollar motorsport sensors, and all that stuff's already configured in his tune. So that's just gonna make it easier. And then